So the semester started officially, and my brain, because it is the kindest organ in my body, has decided that I will not be allowed to sleep until I make all of the art I ever want to make. Hi Paige! I really liked your last video, and PS lighting is obviously not an issue for me, as both this right here and the clip before were filmed at night with my single bulb in my bedroom. That video clip that you just saw was actually filmed like 3 days ago, but my pajamas are the same because I'm a unprofessional video blog maker and film in my pajamas. I am really glad that you're feeling happy right now, and I hope that you're still feeling happy when you see this video and that, like, you know, yeah, you're still in a good mood and jazz, because that's a good thing to be, and I want my friends to be happy. It's funny because right after I watched your video about being in a good mood, I watched this documentary about happiness and like what makes people happy sociologically, and what you can do to be happy, sort of. It sounds cheesy, but it's actually really good, and there's some science in it, so let's talk about happiness. Before I say what I want to say, I just want to mention that I totally get that it is hard to be happy sometimes. I, myself, as well as most people I know, and a lot of people, struggle with anxiety and depression, and those are chemical imbalances in your brain telling you not to be happy, and I don't think that necessarily that can be cured by, like, actively trying to be happy or anything. I definitely think that diseases are diseases, and they need to be treated either with talk therapy or sometimes with medication. So getting that out of the way as a disclaimer before I like dig myself into a hole by saying what I have to say. I definitely think that it takes making a decision to be happy. I know personally, like, I have on multiple occasions felt like shit about everything, and because I feel like shit, I don't make the decision to feel better, which sounds really weird, but that's definitely how my brain works. Like, I have to actively try to be happy all the time when I'm trying to not feel like shit. I'm focusing a lot, and I think that it's important to focus a lot on, like, taking joy in what you can and not waiting for other people's approval or permission to be happy. Like, instead of waiting for somebody to tell you you've done a good job on something, to just feel really good about doing something that you think you did a good job on. And of course, like, this sounds super hypocritical because you know me and you know how much other people's opinions matter to me and how much, like, it stresses me out to have critiques and reviews and, like, job interviews and anything like that. But I definitely, like, I think it's so important not to be like that, like, not to be the way I am, not to wait for anybody else to give you permission to feel joy, because a lot of the time you're not going to get permission, and that shouldn't stop you from being happy. Not needing a reason to be happy, like when you just feel happy, letting it roll as opposed to analyzing and wondering precisely why in this moment you're feeling happy, just taking it as it is. Being happy. Like, today, weird moment of being happy, and of course I'm about to counteract what I just said because I analyzed and figured out why exactly it made me happy, but shush. Shush, logical fallacies are my bread and butter. Today I was working in the studio, surprise, and I took out my headphones because I was going to go look at a show at Mayo Street that Edwige is in, which I wish you were in Portland because it's really fucking good. Anyway, so I took out my headphones, so I was packing up, and since Nick had opened the window that is between our studios, I could hear seagulls through the window. And that made me really happy. Not just that I could hear them, but that the sound of seagulls has become so commonplace to me. Like, every day I hear them, and it makes me happy when I do. Seagulls, shockingly, are intrinsically linked to the sea for me, and less the actual sea and more the idea of the sea, or the idea of how I interacted with the sea when I was younger. I hear them, and for like half of a second, without having to leave my little white box filled with anxiety and drawings that aren't working and art making, I'm like transported momentarily to a beach in New England and cold breezes, hearing seagulls in the winter. For a second, it just comes to me and makes me happy in that moment, and the fact that that moment happens to me on a regular basis because there are seagulls here is just, it's great. That makes me happy. Both the feeling of being happy when I hear seagulls and the fact that I hear seagulls makes me happy. So little moments like that I'm trying really hard to hold on to. Holding on to those moments of happiness are pretty important. In the documentary I was watching, they were talking about how people who expect singular moments of happiness to cover up all the bad things in their lives were inevitably deeply unhappy most of the time. And that's definitely not what I mean by holding on to happiness. I think that, you know, not trying to mask sadness with a singular happy moment is really important, and I think feeling sad or depressed or anxious or, you know, anything is important in and of itself, and that taking emotions as they happen instead of trying to cover them is a really healthy way to live your life. What I mean is holding on to happiness in the moment, to feel it and really feel it without like a background noise or anything, just feeling what it's like to be happy, and not like big happy. I don't mean big happy. I don't mean like in love or successful or, you know, just sold some work. I mean little happy, like hearing seagulls or seeing somebody you want to talk to on the street and saying hello, or like getting a business card. Little happy. Tiny moments of happy, and holding on to that and feeling what that is actually like. I guess those are my feelings about happiness. 8 minutes later, I will be cutting this down. And I'm, of course, thinking about this a lot because I'm trying to counteract the way I feel when I don't sleep for months and spend all my time in a little white box. But I am actively trying to be happier as a person, and I think it's really easy for me to fall into the habit of finding the negative in most situations. So as like a challenge to myself, I've been trying to find the positive in every situation, and the positive in people, because I get annoyed with folks real fast when I haven't been sleeping. So I've been trying to just like take joy in the good things about the people who I am around all the time and who are around me. So that's it. I will see your face on Monday.